How's it going out there, folks? Welcome back here to the weekend, Sunday, that is, January 26, 2025, 11:11 a.m. That's California time. Latest activity, a little 1.0 across California. Notice some larger movement out here across the west coast into Canada and across the northern area here of the Pacific Plate this morning. Things are starting to move out here, so let's go ahead and check out what's going on across the west coast. One earthquake way up outside of Calgary, Canada region, 4.2 early this morning. Also some decent activity here off Northern California, 4.1. That is towards the southern end of the Cascadia megathrust area. Notice an earthquake coming in within the last few minutes or so in that region as well. I'm guessing maybe they turned on the reporting of the smaller quakes now. Because they're actually showing up. There's a little spike of an earthquake on the Petrolia that would match the time frame for a 1.3 there. Again, just a short time ago. But seeing an increase in movement out here in general across the Cascadia. Of course, a couple days ago, remember this 4-pointer stirring up out here, 4.7 in the Blanco fracture zone. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. Whenever activity takes place out here, in this fracture boundary, it adds further strain out here across the Cascadia subduction zone, and even got some further activity in the Gorda Ridges today. That's spreading seafloor center, adding to the further strain that's being produced out here across the southern end of the Cascadia. This 2.7 coming in late last night was not on the map during last night's update, so it looks like they added that on after the fact, but increasing movement and got to watch that. We'll see what the tremor looks like a little bit later on this evening. I'm expecting probably a elevated tremor event out here in the southern end of the Cascadia. We'll check for that later tonight. So there's some earthquake activity there, as noted. Also one earthquake early this morning, 1.9, well southeast of Mount Shasta. Nothing to do with the volcano up here. Just some plates or fault systems that are out there across that area of California. Clear Lake volcanic field, nothing major going on there for now. This is geothermal operations, but there is some slight uptick here across the coast range in terms of smaller microquake activity, indicating the strain and movement out here along the plate boundary. 2.9 earthquake. Goodness, it sounds like my voice box has been irritated here all winter since I've been sick. I don't know when it's going to come back to normal, hopefully soon. But 2.9 San Francisco area from yesterday. Nothing new to report there for now. A handful of earthquakes on the creeping segment of the San Andreas Fault. 3.1 near Pinnacles area. That a little bit of earthquake activity stirring up out here today across the west coast. Southern California, a little bit less. It looks like the momentum here has shifted northward across the west coast. As far as Southern California activity goes, not completely absent of earthquake activity. We do have some movement out here across the region. 2.7 north of Los Angeles area. This follows some movement last night, a little bit further south off a different plate bound or a fault system here, 2.8. So a little bit of movement stirring up over the last couple days here. We've noticed an increasing event there across Southern California. Today, like I say, not so much generally small microquake activity out here, aside from a couple quakes to the northwest. But microquake activity here, still earthquake activity. But we've noticed here in the last few days, ramping up of earthquakes. Today, very obvious that we're getting a little northward migration here across the plate boundary. Just still keep an eye on things, folks. A little bit of swarming out here around the Minotone region this morning, it looks like, as well. This area in the last week has seen a number of earthquakes out here. We're talking about 40 earthquakes in the region here. Associated with the, looks like it's the Crafton Hills fault. I want to see real quick if we got any information there on the Caltech website, which is going to be right here. So the Crafton Hills, let's take a look, see what we have here. Wow, is that right? Crafton Hills, right? Let's see. So we got, looks like a normal type of faulting here. A couple different fragments out there around the Crafton Hills fault zone. That does bump up against the San Andreas fault. It looks like the Crafton Hills fault zone exists because of the actions of these two major faults. That's going to be the San Andreas fault and the San Jacinto fault zone there in the purple. The two near the intersection is being pulled apart. When this sort of extensional action exists, normal faults typically develop. So a little bit of movement there, indicative of the strain out here and the interaction with the San Andreas fault and the San Jacinto fault zone, which has been pretty active down here in the last couple days as well. Just in general, Southern California has been a little bit above background normal levels here. Same for Northern California. We'll definitely keep an eye here on the West Coast. Looks like things definitely starting to move out here. Texas oil fields still have a little bit of movement. Let's see. Largest earthquake here in the last 24 hours, a 5.3 up here across the Kamchatka Trench. Earlier this morning, it looks like. Nothing big happening across that subduction zone area for now, but keep an eye on it. It's got some potential out there for larger movement. Still seeing quite a bit of swarming here across Taiwan. Even some activity stretching up here north, away from the plate boundary. And away from Taiwan here. 4.7, 8 o'clock this morning. That whole area has been just hammered with a lot of earthquake activity here recently. And still keeping my eye on the Nankai Trough region. Potentially this area as well. I want to show you guys the historical model for this region. I'm going to go... just want to go 6.5 and above, and we'll go back a little ways and check out this area. It's been getting a lot of swarming. It had some larger activity last year, I believe, but there's potential for larger movement around that region. And I'm going to exclude the Nankai Trough, which is more up here. We already looked at that. We know it's coming up on the potential time frame that it could be happening again as far as a mega quake goes. But I want to look specifically at this area. It's been a little while since I've looked at this region here. So, yeah, 6.6, that's 2021. A lot of sixes here over the years, but this area can see some larger activity, 8.1. And some near 8-pointers out there as well, and a lot of time has passed since then. That's why I say there could be potential for seeing a megaquake event out here as well. A bunch of sixes, though, that doesn't really cut it in terms of the major strain that could be built up out here in this region. So overall, like I say, we need to keep an eye on this specific. Pretty much draw a line here from the Kamchatka, all in this area right here. Been amplified, and it's been a little while since the big megaquake has happened. Yeah, we can probably exclude the Japan Trench. 2011, that 9.1 that struck out there as a big earthquake. But, there's a lot of areas that are well overdue in terms of, the regular occurrence intervals that take place out here and all the elevated activity around the region, indicating to potential further escalation of larger activity soon. 4.7 down across the Philippine Trench, 84 miles deep here into that subduction zone. Yeah, let's see, anything else major going on? Some movement back here across the Filipino plate, amplifying the conditions here across the western edge. New Zealand still rocking with some threes. Nothing big to report down there for now. Some older activity here from yesterday, it looks like, across that area of the world. And the South Sandwich Trench, 5.1, southern end. Seen a little bit of earthquake activity this morning down here. 71 miles deep here into the southern end of the South Sandwich Trench subduction zone. Puerto Rico Trench up here. Got a little bit of swarming going on in the 4 and 3 range. This is another area that can see some mega quake potential. You know, anywhere there's a major subduction zone and time has passed is a higher probability of seeing something larger take place here soon. Just a matter of time here. Let's see, what do we got for space weather activity? Anything interesting going on in the sun? Doesn't look like it. Things are dropping like a rock in terms of flaring activity. Most of the big sunspots are now out of sight, out of mind, off the western limb. And we're left with really just a couple measly little sunspots out here, really not capable of producing anything. Look at the UV filter there showing the flaring off on the western limb. Some bright areas out here on the eastern limb, but I don't know. Right now, going to enter into a little quiet period of flaring. Not a whole lot of roars there in the forecast either. Fairly minimal conditions there across the board. As far as severe weather outlook today, just a little thunderstorm activity. Southern California, down here across the south as well. Really not expecting too much in terms of any major severe weather. Down across Southern California, of course, they've been dealing with some fires. Today, a little bit of rain down there across Los Angeles area, Malibu region, and the area where that Palisades fire has taken place. Looking at maybe some potential mudslide events due to the elevated moisture level down there. Either way, hopefully some of this water and precipitation there will limit any future fire starts here for a little bit. Look at the long-term models, long trend models here from the GFS weather model. TropicalTidbits.com is the site I like to use. That low pressure system here in Southern California is going to eventually make its way east here towards Texas and stir up some severe weather down there as we head into the middle and end of next week, this coming week here. So watch for that severe weather event. We'll check that out a little bit later once we get closer. But wetter pattern out here for Northern California, and I'm okay with that. We need a bunch of rain this month in March, hopefully, to make up for the loss of rain in January. But we do have the storm door being opened with potential further rainfall for Southern California as well from some large low pressure troughs out there across the west coast. And it looks like that may continue there as a long-term model show. So I am okay with that, folks. You guys want the high pressure and warmer temperatures? Well, you guys can have it. It's still winter. I want cold, rain, and wind. All right, what else we got? Anything else major going on out here across the world today? Seismograph stations, little spike of an earthquake on Petrolia. Those little bitty, really small ones below 1.0, they're probably not going to show, but at least they are reporting some of the ones now in the lower category. That's good. Maybe someone got the memo to start reporting on the earthquakes that we're seeing on the seismos. So keep an eye on the west coast. We are on the move. Cascadia subduction zone underneath the strain. Last night, or I should say yesterday, the tremor activity out here consisted of some elevated tremor, mainly across Oregon underneath there, but we have noticed a little bit underneath Northern California, Southern Oregon as well. That's associated with the Cascadia subduction zone. Not volcanic activity. This is not volcano tremor, but tremor between the two plates as they're slowly sliding past one another, indicating built-up strain out here across the locked area. That's how you build the strain. So, keep an eye on that. Nothing big happening for now, but 325 years ago to the date is when the last big 9-pointer struck out there. A big earthquake, right? And that will happen again. And the question is, are we ready for it? I know I am. If something were to happen, power goes down, loss of services there for months, I'm pretty well prepared. You guys got to make sure you are too. You don't have to have a lot of money to be prepared for a natural disaster. You just got to have the right mindset, and of course, I've been living on canned food for a little bit, and that's okay. But just got to be prepared. A big one could hit at any time. Nobody knows exactly when. And a lot of times we'll have elevated events out here, elevated tremor, elevated earthquake out on shore or offshore, and nothing happens. But one of these days it's going to happen, and that's what we got to be prepared for. Big 9-pointer out here. We may even have a partial rupture. That would be a lot less energy out here, but still quite damaging locally to this area. And that would be up, it could be an 8.1, 8.4 for the southern end, which would probably still produce a tsunami due to the type of subduction zone here. All right, folks, have a good day. We'll catch you guys back out here a little bit later on for the Sunday night update. Take care. Stay safe.